you got to know what it is you want. You got to get clarity on that. And there's a lot of internal battles because we're doing what other people want. And I had to go on that journey and I had to do what I wanted, which wasn't stay in the Air Force my entire life or be a general. And I had to make a lot of life decisions with my family to go down this path. But once you go through that, then commit to that, and give everything you got.
Tim is one of the most authentic and genuine people I've ever met.
Sincerely believe he's coming from a position of giving, and that means a lot.
You're going to make huge progress.
Welcome everybody to today's Capital Raising Show. I'm your host, Tim Mai. And today I have an amazing guest on the line with us, Mr. Iven Vian. He is the co-founder and chief operating officer of Anthem Capital. Having retired as a lieutenant colonel from the Air Force after 20 years, he is passionate about the operational excellence and the execution of his apartment communities and their impact on their surrounding communities. Ivan's mission is to grow Anthem Apartments to 300 communities and donate $2.5 million in profits to charity by 2030. That's an awesome goal there, Ivan. When he isn't working on real estate, you can find Ivan spending time with his family, hiking and traveling. And Ivan been in the multifamily business for 7 years now, has acquired over $300 million of assets, currently has $110 million and has personally raised over $60 million. So he is going to be a wealth amount of knowledge to share with us today. So let's give Ivan a big welcome, y'all. Woohoo! Awesome. All right. Ivan, if you can start and share with us a little bit about yourself, what got you started in real estate, and especially what got you started in this multifamily syndication space.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Pleasure being here. Excited to have the opportunity to share my story, and hopefully I'm able to help someone here to further their business, further their journey along. What got me started in real estate, honestly, was my first investment I ever made. I was a junior in college. I invested all the money I had saved up in the stock market, this aggressive growth fund by a certain company associated with the military. And I did everything I was told. And then that investment went to zero overnight. And I was hurt. I was like, dude, I did everything you guys told me to do. And now I'm broke. And now I'm the second lieutenant in the Air Force with no money. And I said, there's got to be a better way to make your hard-earned cash go to work for you. And that's when my journey in real estate started. I got relocated a few years later down to Abilene, Texas, to start out my new assignment down there. And my mother-in-law said, hey, there's this lady going through a divorce down the street. She's trying to sell her single-family house. Maybe you should go knock on her door and see what you can get done. And that's like literally how it happened. I was like moving into my mom's house, dropped all my stuff, my mother-in-law's house, dropped all my things and went down and knocked on her door. And long story short, I bought that house for $33,000. It was relatively clean, only needed about 4 or 5K. The same bank that told me to invest in the aggressive growth fund gave me a loan to buy that house. So I guess they made up for the previous advice. And I bought that property, man, and leased it out and got it about $300 a month cash flow. And the journey began. I was like, wow, I could be in the military, have a military career, and have this real estate business on the side. And I became like infatuated with real estate. So that's where it kicked off.
Wow. Okay. And then what led you into the multifamily side?
Absolutely. So fast forward. Okay. So I got another assignment in Oklahoma City, a few bumps and bruises before I got there. We'll save that story for another day. But started over, hit the ground running again, started buying some houses, ran out of money, got my real estate license to make extra money to buy more houses. And this was the turning point. And there's a lot of lessons learned in the story. But I got my real estate license to sell houses on my lunch break and after work. And the market was hot. This is 2014. Where these little rental houses like 35K a pop. I ended up selling 99 of these houses in 2 years on my lunch break.
Oh, wow.
My first client was Tariq Satar, who's now my business partner today. And I served him well. And I made sure that he had a very healthy portfolio. He ended up buying about 45 of those 99 houses. We developed a relationship. And the market started turning in single family around 2016. And I remember it was like winter of 2016. We're back to some abandoned home, underwriting this deal. I was like, it's not working out. I said, Tariq, I really want to do multifamily. I've been having my eye on this business for a long time. I know these mentorships groups out there, and I think now's the time that I go check it out. And I said, hey, we're going to Dallas. I'm going to Dallas. Come join me for this 2-day event. And he said, yeah, I'll join you. He came down to Dallas with me, sat through the 2-day event. And at the end of that event, we both signed up, became students of Brad Sumrock's mentorship group. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows who that is, and hit the ground running. And he and I joined forces. We started Anthem Capital in 2016, hit the ground running, and never looked back ever since then. I ended up selling all my houses, put all my capital in this business. I cashed out my IRA account, put it all in this business. I went all in, baby, all in.
Wow.
And 9 months later, we got a first 3-property portfolio, 214 units total, 99, 50, and a 65 unit in Oklahoma City. 9 months after that, we got a 110 unit. 9 months after that, we got a 210, 126, and a 165. It kept going and going. And the process started. The dream was coming alive. The days when I was thinking about multifamily in Abilene, Texas, when I was really in debt, I didn't tell you that story. And fast forward 10 years later, I now have a multifamily business. So to date, like you said, we've done about 3,000 doors, raised millions of dollars, and have the opportunity to impact a lot of lives along the way. It's been a tremendous blessing, and I'm very grateful to be here.
That's awesome. And before you got into the multifamily space, have you ever raised money at all for your single family side? No.
No, I didn't know anybody with money. Like military guys, we work hard, man, but they don't pay you a lot. I didn't really have anyone outside of the military that I knew with money, and I didn't grow up with money.
Gotcha. Yeah, to get in your first deal as a package deal, you said three properties, 200 something units. Is that correct?
Yeah, 214 units. Yeah,
214 units. That's, it takes some guts to do that. So share with us your experience doing that first raise. How was the total raise, and how did you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I wouldn't recommend buying 3 apartments at the same time, 3 loans, like 6 LLCs, I think it was, after you had them all up, maybe 5. It was a lot. And I'm new and I'm trying to figure this out. The raise price points were, what were they back then? 35, 40K a door or something. I think our raise was about 3.1. But anything over 100K was a lot of money to me. So that was like, oh my gosh, like how in the heck am I going to get this done? But listen, this is how we got it done. This may apply to some people here who are in the early stages of their capital raising career, and others that are farther along can certainly relate, that you partner with people who have networks and you leverage their networks, and you develop those relationships before you go into these deals, and you develop a game plan agenda, and you strategize and say, listen, this is what we want to do. Let's partner and get it done. And people didn't know me in the real estate space, but I did have something to offer. And never discount who you are, what you have to offer. I had at that point about a 15-year career in the Air Force, in which I have been in an operational environment my entire life. I know how to lead. I know how to manage. I know how to develop and implement processes. I know how to do KPIs. This is no different than what I did in the military. I flew airplanes, but I also flew other jobs and had other assignments that I was in charge of. And so of course, I'm going to bring that story to the table. And additionally, I was a single family guy. Now we know single family is not the same as multifamily, but there is some crossover there. There is some similarities. There is some, when it comes to construction management component, which is very critical. And I know, and there's a story on how construction management ties to your ability to raise capital. And I can unpack that later on if you'd like. But I know how to manage construction projects because I did a lot of those and a lot of projects in the military. And so then we find people who have networks, who have done previous deals, who are already established in the market that we wanted to focus on in that time frame was Oklahoma City. And they were able to raise capital as co-GPs with us. And eventually that first 100K came in, 500K, a million, 2 mil, 3.1. I was like, oh my gosh, we got the money. Let's go. And went to close.
Awesome. That's awesome. So did they raise the entire amount for you, or did you raise any yourself as well within that?
That time frame was my first deal. Like I said, my network was the military. No, I didn't raise any money.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I helped them raise money from their network. I took care of the back end. I did the IMS. I did all the investor paperwork. I did all this. I did all the dirty work, man.
That's good.
That's part of raising money. You want people to know how to dot your I's and cross your T's. And I laid out that system. So I made it easy for the investors to get into our deals. I made it seamless as possible as I knew how at the time. I took care of the marketing package. I didn't understand marketing, but I freaking learned real quick. From the first OM to the one today, there's a huge difference. It was comical looking back, but there's a lot of other things you can do to add value to a team in order to help the overall team raise capital.
That's awesome. At which deal, I guess, how many deals in did you officially did your first raise personally?
Yeah, it takes a little bit, right? You got to have a track record, you got to have experience, but it was about the second deal in, because I'm in Dallas every other weekend burning the midnight oil after working a 9 to 5, or really the military is not 9 to 5, it's whenever you got to work kind of thing. And I'm going to these network meetings, and we all know Dallas, there's one basically every day, I think, in Dallas, right? And so I went all in, and it was about the second or third deal I started raising my own money.
Gotcha. And so share with us about that deal. How much was the raise and how much did you raise?
The second one or a third or something?
Well, the second one, the first one that you raised money for.
The first one, again, was my first raise. I didn't.
No, what I mean is not your first deal, your first personal raise, like the first deal that you
raise.
actually, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll say again, the second or third deal. Now I have a track record. We're having our deals being presented. So as a second or third deal, part of that, the whole time you're on the phone, you go on all these events, it's basic stuff, right? You get a business card, you set up calls, introduce yourself, develop a relationship, go to coffee bar, have meetings, this and that. So what was that like? It was a lot easier. It was a lot easier because now I have track record. I have a lot of marketing that I've been doing, relatively speaking, at the time. And I've been on multiple like investor calls. Plus, people knew about us from our first or second raise because we're now developing our own CRM and sending out marketing and all those type of things. So that's how it went. And in the second raise back, these deals are like, we bought it for 35,000 a door, the second deal, and sold it for 65. So the raises back then, 1.5 million. That deal, the second one was 1.5 mil. So we didn't, for a team of, I think 4 of us, we didn't have to bring a whole lot to the table, right? Those days.
What has been the biggest raise that you have had to do?
Oh man, the Dallas deals, they started getting bigger, right? So there's Dallas deals in there, probably, 4 or 5 at each of those kind of level. Then we started buying like bigger stuff in Salt Lake City. Last year we bought 3, and you start developing track record, all these things. It gets easier. And then private equity companies start coming into the picture. And so we started raising like the whole thing from a private equity company.
Oh, wow.
If you want to consider that a raise, I do, because you
still
got to go through the process. So like private equity company, we had the whole check kind of thing, 100% funded kind of thing too.
Gotcha. All right. So share with us, some of the challenges you went through from the earlier raises that you did, as well as, your current. What are some of the challenges that, especially that you went through, and then especially for the listeners, like what they can be expecting, how to navigate through those?
Okay. So it's, once you start having a deal or two, even if you're like a fund-to-fund kind of person, I would say there's the rub of deal flow, operations, capital raising. You have this deal flow operation, you have your current holding operation you have to manage, and then you're out there still raising capital. How do you do all 3 at the same time? That's a challenge. And so how do you manage that? You team members have a strategy of certain people in your team to manage each of those buckets. So on Anthem Capital, we have my business partner handles deal flow and exit. I take care of everything in between. And now today we have a third partner, Dan Cosgrove, who manages the marketing side of our company and takes care of the investor relations component to a certain degree. I would either do that, or you can outsource the whole marketing piece. And back in the day, I did work with the whole marketing side. You can set up a relatively cost-effective back-end marketing system using VAs, virtual assistants, in anywhere in the world type thing. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows about that, versus hiring some marketing agency. And now this is business is becoming more and more mainstream, that you have fully established companies that manage a lot of these marketing functions, but something such as put together a very strong offering memorandum to present
Mhm.
your deal, you can outsource that and let someone on your team just be focused on that one thing. And that's key too, is that when we're doing these larger raises, we're partnering with various people and make sure we compartmentalize each of these tasks and let that person own that task while you're focusing on another piece of the overall puzzle as you're putting the deal together. And then on the back end, the basic stuff, make sure you have a very strong CRM, make sure you have automations in place, and later brought on VAs and to train them up to have them manage all of the documents, do the back and forth. You get a wire sent in, make sure that wire notification immediately goes out, all the little nuances that you want to make sure in place to help you raise the money. And what I'm trying to say here is this, though. It's about the investor experience overall. And the less friction there is, the more friction ways you can find ways to take away friction in the entire process. I think the easier it's going to be for you to raise for future raises. And you have to create that experience from day one all the way to the end. And what I want to say is that the way you grow is you take care of home base. The way you grow as an investor is take care of what you have today. And the best marketing is the word of mouth marketing. And it's a very small world we live in. And listen, we all make mistakes, man. Nobody's perfect. I don't have it figured out, but I do know what it looks like, and I'm fighting for that. But my heart, my passion, my belief has been, I want to take care of home base, and I'm fighting for that every day as we're looking for something new, as we're trying to grow the business. And I think the more you can do that and just keep putting these pieces in to take away the friction, take away the rub, but not look at it from a reactive point of view, look at it from a strategic point of view of, if I needed to create a perfect seamless operation on the capital raising machine, and I need to put the people processes in place, what does that look like? And how can I do it in an affordable, cost-effective manner, depending on what your operating budget is?
Gotcha. And what share with us some of your marketing strategies now? What are like the top, maybe the top 3 marketing channels that that works the best for you?
Yeah. Let me caveat. I never even had a Facebook account until I got into multifamily business. Like being in the military, you want to be on the DL, and I just want to be on the radar, right? So I had to learn this business and learn a lot. I think one thing is, there's the basic things. One, know your avatar, develop a platform to speak to that avatar, but be known for one thing. I think it's better to be niched down in your digital marketing platform and how you present yourself, as I'm learning today, again, to be niched down versus trying to be the jack of all trades kind of person. In your topic, for example, Tim, we know you as the hero capital, like the capital raising man in this space, right? And that's your niche. But now I'm pretty sure you do things other than that, right?
Yeah.
You have other things going on parallel to this platform. That's what I'm saying. So for me, my passion's operations. I focus on asset management. A lot of my content is focusing on asset management. A lot of what I share and add value to this space is about how to improve operations at the property level, at the company level, and how to scale your business with proper operations in place. Now, again, I'm still out here raising capital, but that attracts a certain avatar to me, then I can then lever out into deals in the future. And then you have your own community, and you have your own community advocates. And this is one thing that we do. I can share this. And we have Anthem ambassadors, that we have people that we partner with to help grow their platform, who do not have a platform and do not want to go through all of the overhead it takes to develop a platform. Guess what? We got a platform. We have a back-end operation. We have all the marketing systems and tools. We have the digital assets. We have the copy. We have everything. You get to leverage our platform for you to go out and raise capital in your network, in a partnership with us, without you even have to do all the heavy lifting. We make it easy for you. And then I train you, educate you. I share with you everything that we're doing. In my world, for example, I come from military background. I'm a pilot. So I have friends that are pilots, and they're marketing themselves as investors in real estate amongst the airline community. And that same idea can apply to anyone here who are doctors, IT, or oil workers, or whatever it may be. There's that common language. Then you then create a marketing message that speaks to that avatar. My avatar is more operations business kind of people, but I do have naturally this language that comes out talking about flying. And I make a correlation between all the instruments in my cockpit tells me how my plane is performing. Guess what? That relates to those people and pilots, but also those people who understand business operations, that you have to have sound KPI measures in place, not only to tell you what's happening in the past as lag indicators, but what's going to happen in the future as leading indicators for you to make correct adjustments with your business operation or your airplane in order to effectively lead your airplane or your property to its target. But that message resonates with someone. And dude, watch what happens in the inbox. And I have people now who are passionate about the military, in my case, are passionate about what we do, don't really want to get invested, but they want to support the cause. And so they're out there on LinkedIn bringing people to my inbox as introductions of people who are interested in real estate, that do want to talk to me, that allow me to get on calls, that I'm now fostering relationships. And see how that works? And that's a few of the things awesome that I'm doing.
Yeah. Are you, so like those type of posts that you make, do you make them on both LinkedIn and Facebook, or do you primarily focus in on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Listen, I'm trying to understand how each of these platforms work, and the message has different nuances in every bucket. And it sounds like you understand what I'm saying. And LinkedIn is very formal, very professional, very logical type content. Although emotional type content does work on LinkedIn, but I seem to get better engagement on logical side more so than the other platforms. Facebook seems to be more emotional stuff, or I'll just do something nothing to do with real estate, for example, or it may have a little hint to real estate. What I would say is this topic, if I'm hearing you correctly, Tim, is we're talking about how to raise capital through digital presence and social media. And this is me sharing my journey that I've been on, say, for about a year. So this is, I've been talking with a year about experience from solely focused on trying to create an audience in the digital media world. You got to remember, social media is two words. First word is social. There's multiple aspects of who we are other than just buying real estate. And people want to feel connected with you as a human being through your own transparency. And I found the more human you can make yourself be, which means talking about your failures, your faults, talking about things that you struggle with, talking about your own fears in the marketplace, whatever it may be, the more human you can make yourself be, the more approachable you become, the more likable and trustworthy you become over time. And I have learned how to do this. And it's part of that journey of learning to be transparent and open as you are sharing yourself with the world. And so my world, other than outside of real estate, you can see behind me is my family, in which most of us probably have families and we do things with our families. We're not doing this stuff here. And I will do that. I'll just open up the book, man, and share people things that I'm doing. Another thing that I got a lot of engagement on, I don't know. The question is, are these people going to invest with me at the end of the day? Some of them won't. Some of them won't. But listen, getting engagement and getting recognized by the algorithm, getting server authority, so you actually are a blimp on the radar, is a huge accomplishment in and of itself. And so if you want, I would challenge you to make content that gets people's attention. It doesn't have to be all intellectual. It could be emotional, or it could be one of the emotions, like comedy, humor, or something else. I feel like we need to evolve a little bit, because it becomes the same thing in our ear. And then how do you differentiate yourself other than your stats, which that's one way. But if you really want to do this thing, you got to be known. You got to have a personality, and you got to be known for something other than wah, 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 because it becomes the same dang thing. And I get bored here and looking at the same thing, but someone that does something different and interesting, it catches my eye. And now I pay attention. And the social media game is about engagement and eyeballs on you. The holder you can hold someone's attention, eventually they're going to naturally, subconsciously like you and come into your funnel and be part of your platform.
That's awesome. Yeah. And with ChatGPT these days, making content is so much easier. You really can, let's say this interview as an example, while Ivan is talking, you can take notes. You can put those notes in ChatGPT and tell it, hey, make me a LinkedIn post based on these notes. And they'll be able to do that for you. And you can even tell it to add emojis and all of that. And you can even tell it, it includes the tags. If there's any call to action, you can ask it to do that. I mean, it's, yeah, the content, creating content these days with the help of ChatGPT is just mind blowing. You guys definitely need to check that out. So besides social media posts, what other type of marketing or marketing channels do you use?
I'm here. This is one.
Yep, speaking.
Getting on people's platforms and speaking is by far I found to be the most effective. And I think it's physical and digital sandwich is how I'm going to say it. You got, if to be truly effective, something I want to do more is speak publicly. I wish I lived in Dallas, dadgummit. I would be on more stages, but I'm in Oklahoma City. I'm getting there. Anyhow, being on more stages, because I tell you, they see you in the social world and then they see you on the physical world on the stage, instant credibility, instant authority, instant ability to influence people, instant ability to raise capital. There's no quicker method than that. You got to get on the stage somehow, or a stage, or create your own stage. There is that path as well. If you're bold enough to create your own stage like you have, Tim, create your own stage, then attract them to your stage, because you get to add so much value to your people. And I bet a lot of us here have our own masterminds, right? Create your own stage, bring them to your platform, have added a lot of value, and then you'll be able to, in parallel, raise capital that way, or have some type of exchange, whatever that may be. You may end up working together, or whatever it may be. So yeah, of course, podcasts, speaking engagements are some other channels I'm currently doing. And for me, I'm launching my own asset management platform that I'm focusing on as my stage here in the very near future.
That's awesome. So your partners, which part of the business does he focus in on?
So Tariq is acquisitions, dispositions, and some of the stuff in between. We all share this, some of the each pot, but primarily acquisitions, dispositions. So he's the one on the front end of the stick, looking at deals, underwriting deals. We go through exiting, making sure they close for maximum value. I got to make sure I hit the target and get them there, which is not always fun, but I'll do it.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, you're bringing up a really good point about, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your superpowers are, and then partner with others on the rest, right? Yeah, even doing having your own stage. And the word stage is being used loosely here because even a meetup is a stage, right? Anytime you are a host of anything, that's your stage. I would even go as far as having a Facebook group, being the Facebook group owner, that's your stage. You get pretty far just introducing yourself as, oh yeah, I have a Facebook group. It's, even if you only have a few members in it, the fact that you're in a Facebook group, it elevates your status. And so yeah, I love what you're saying about not only speaking on other people's stages, podcasts and stuff, but I think that having your own goes a long way as well. So awesome. And I know for you, you mentioned that pilots is one of your ideal investor. If you look at all of the investors that you raise money from, or your team raised money from, give us some of the main avatars within that group.
Yeah, of course, military and anyone in the aviation industry was a pretty natural fit. Then business owners and like operators. I have a lot of discussions with those type of investors. We have a large physician community in our investor database. However, primarily due to the fact that Tariq is part of physician community. And so we have influence there as well. And then those that are like junior execs or mid-level corporate that are looking for a way out of the rat race, we have quite a bit of influence there as well.
Gotcha. Do you have your own personal favorites? Like they're easy to work with, they have good money.
I love everybody, man. No, I love everybody. Yeah, listen, every niche has their own different personalities. I think I would answer that question from a personality standpoint, life cycle standpoint versus what they do for a living. And you learn to read who may be people that you want to partner with as an investor in your deal versus maybe someone that you feel like may not be a good fit for you over time based upon how the interaction goes over time. And you do have to think long term that these are long-term relationships that you're going to have together. And what will that look like when things aren't going well? And one thing I've found to be consistent, maybe I don't know what one deal is beat performance. They're out there, but there are ups and downs. And we're all going through some of that now. And what kind of bandwidth capacity does the people you're investing with have ability to go through something like that? I'm digging a little deeper in your understanding. Are they going to be able to weather the storm with you as a true partner with you and have a trust there with you, because you're partners at the end of the day is a mutual transaction that goes on, and it should stay that way along the way, and how you relate to your investors and how you communicate to investors consistently, clearly, correctly. And that's what I'm evaluating when I'm deciding who I want to partner with or not. And I want to make sure that there's a mutual benefit. Like, I just don't want to take someone's money because it's there. That's not right either. And I want them to feel like they get a mutual benefit from me. And a lot of times that may mean, sorry, that's not going to work out, but that's okay.
Yeah. What are some of your methods for cultivating the relationship? And so there's two parts, right? There's investors that never invested with you yet. How do you cultivate that relationship to get their first investment? And let's go with that first, and then I'll have a follow-up question for the ones that have already invested with you. How do you continue that relationship?
First investors, there has to be some type of interaction, either through Zoom, through a phone call, in-place meeting at a conference. Conferences is a very efficient method of touching base with all your investors, maybe having some type of social event where you have them all together as well. I've done that before. So there is that initial interaction. Have an investor questionnaire, document everything, by the way, document all your interactions, have a very back-end solid CRM system, all your conversations, log it, make sure it's all there. But that's a different topic. But have consistent communication. And we've had a thing called office hours. We open up our office on the evening once a month and invite everyone to come join us and hear about what's going on, and from a certain topic point of view of whatever it may be, something in the market or operations. So we open our door and connect with our investors that way. A lot of these conversations I have are introductions that I get introduced to people now. So it'll be in LinkedIn or something, and I'll set up a call and have a quick 15 to 30-minute call, and try to be efficient with my time, right? But you got to keep the conversation alive. And I document everything, and I see when I need to touch base with this person again, and have another phone call for my own retail individual investors. But a lot of my strategies, I like to partner with capital raisers. I like to partner with co-GPs, let them focus on all of those conversations so that I can focus on operations. More open to that. Again, you have these three buckets, and to be able to do them all effectively is not effective. I like to have someone else be part of the team as well for us to go and operate a property, take a property down.
Awesome. Your in-person monthly, do you get a lot of people referring and bring their friends along with them as well to this?
Yeah, there are. That's a great point. Absolutely. A lot of the inbound lead flow is just from the relationships we develop with our current investors that invite their friends and family to the table. A lot of that comes that way. And
that's awesome.
Again, one thing that we're working to do and continue to do is not just send out monthly emails, but have quarterly engagements with your existing investors on Zoom or a direct phone call to update them on what's going on with their property, with their investment Some of them may not get the email or see that it showed up, or they may have missed it or whatever it may be. And so the phone calls is an effective way. But so again, you're nurturing relationships. These are relationships. So you're doing the best you can to nurture these relationships along the way. And if I'm not able to do it, I have someone on my staff now to help nurture those relationships who's part of these KPI calls. They're plugged into the operations. So they can answer these operational questions that may come up, but still have a touch point with our investor inside of our holdings.
Gotcha. Do you have a pretty high referral rate? Meaning, let's say your last deal, for example, what's the percentage of the raise came from an existing investor referring someone into the deal?
That's a good question. About 20%.
That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I assume and share of this other strategies, but your monthly open office hour, monthly office hour, your quarterly webinar updates, are those the two primary ways of and people DMing you, obviously. That's your three primary ways of getting referrals?
Oh, referrals, just introductions in an email. I have so-and-so that a lot of introductions on emails or introductions on DMs, for example, wherever the introduction may come in. Is just the idea is I get introductions from other investors, or I may get people who haven't invested with me, but they know someone that friends with that wants to be in the apartment business. I get introductions that way as well. Again, if you just honestly just telling people what you do, goes a long ways. You may be at a party. You may be out on your neighborhood events. People know who you are, what you do. The question is what it is you do, and make sure you have that message clearly down. I impact lives, right? You don't buy apartments, you impact lives so they can have an impact in their own life. Have some type of message that resonates with people. And
I love that.
Get some curious, really, tell me more. Oh, actually, I buy apartments, and have a story with everything. Not be factual, but share a story behind everything. You heard how I done this on this call. I have a story and how I got started in the business and how I got introduced to real estate. My mother-in-law told me about a single family house and all these things. Like I noticed stories resonate with people. We're all human beings. And when you can have a story and take the time to develop that story, I'll just share this. I did the Pete Vargas training. If you all know who Pete Vargas is, and he has a workshop, I took the time and I developed my story and using his story braid framework. And that's what I'm using today.
That's awesome. And then in terms of the asset type, are you focused specifically only on multifamily?
Correct. No, not correct. No, that's not correct. We have been primarily multifamily Class C value add, cutting our teeth on the Class C, working our way into the Class B. Thank goodness I've survived the Class C world, moving on up. No more flat roofs, spoilers, and chillers, by the way. Stay away. Warning you, stay away. Anyhow, we are buying an 80-unit hotel 10 minutes from the heart of Nashville in the path of progress, that we are going to operate it as a boutique Airbnb hotel. We're partnering with a local developer who is in the community, in the marketplace, has a full development operation that we have fostered a relationship for over a year now. And it's a 506B, just caveat, I'm not here raising money, and this is just for educational purposes only. But yeah, we're doing a raise for that, and we're almost done with it. It's going well. That's our first deal we have done outside of our normal buy box. Very unique, 300% total return. It's in an opportunity zone. I must say it's a 10-year hold though. Annualized cash on cash over, it's 13-15% because of 10-year hold. But that's one of our deals that we're doing currently doing outside of our normal multifamily operations. Personally, I've been more and more interested in warehouse and industrial type asset classes and triple net leases. From an operational efficiency standpoint, they're a little bit more easier to operate is why as well.
Are most of your deals 5 or 6B?
Half and half. Now you can
Okay.
start out with B and wait and go to a C. So we exercised that mechanism as well and found that to be effective overall. And the question is, have we been able to raise additional capital in the past by starting out as a C and blasting on social media and doing all of those things? It has helped me bring a few extra investors that I did not have a pre-existing relationship along the way, but it hasn't allowed me to raise all of the money from unknowns just yet. So there is always that consideration to start out with a B, and now you can switch to a C. So that's what we're doing with this current raise.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. Do you have any plans to do any funds, or you just planning to do syndications only?
Yeah, definitely have plans to do funds. I have plans to do funds. I'm taking care of home base and I'm taking care of this current raise. And I am investing a lot in the back end marketing arena. And once those pieces are in place, then we'll launch the fund.
Awesome. When you mentioned spending a lot of on marketing on the back end, are you referring to building out all the back end funnels, or are you planning to actually like doing paid ads, buying
Right. All of the funnels and all of the automations and taking the time to set up your copy correctly, and you got to test it out too. It may not work. It may be a flop, may not get the response rates you wanted. Making sure you have all your proper KPI tracking mechanisms to understand your lead flow and where they're coming from, to understand your cost per leads, for example, breaking it down to that level. To work with, do you want to do active campaign, attach it to some active campaign, attach it to some other type of system? Going through that whole process. I know a lot of people use Go High Level. I'm sticking with Zoho for now. I'm using Zoho as mine. We had active campaign, like going through all those things and iron all those kinks out. So it's a seamless operation is where we're at. And then from a social media standpoint, I'm not opening up the paid ads just yet, because I don't want to. It's once you break the seal, you can't play. You got to keep going. I'm like, they're onto you, like, hey, this guy wants to pay. And so you stop paying, then they stop like showing you, kind of thing. And I don't want to. I want to be more organic. Let me break this down again a little bit. So there's vanity engagement, and then there's real engagement. Just because you didn't get, for people here that I've learned, and so far just because you didn't get 1,000 likes or 50 likes, maybe only got 5, but those are 5 real people that you are your avatar. That's a much better, obviously, return on your investment in this post than getting 100 likes that amount to nothing. But you track that on the back end and see where these people end up in your funnel, and building that back end funnel piece as well is important. Anyways, there's that.
Yeah, that's that's really good. Thank you. What are some, so Zoho is your CIM. What are some other of your favorite software tools that you use?
Active campaign is amazing. Active campaign is amazing. Cost effective, questionable. So we rely on Zoho One. It's all in one system. So we use a lot of that. And we use Ring Central. There is a lot of people have their own text messages and systems and things like that. Zoho has its own text message campaign system. I don't find that to be as effective anymore, because everyone's doing it and it becomes spammy. I like the landing page on Active Campaign from a front end marketing standpoint. A lot of people are using Go High Level. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. Go High Level is all in one system that is doing everything, Active Campaign and sales message, text message, and all those tools all in one, at a very cost effective price point. So something, and I'm not affiliate, but I'm just sharing my experience on that. From a Facebook CRM standpoint, I'm using Group Track that manages all my DMs. And I have a sales funnel inside of Group Track that I use to manage the flow of my conversations and my DMs, on if they're first initiated to all the way to call schedule to potentially deal one. Another little tip that I use, people that have discovery calls with you, that you initiate a relationship, you can port that. You can API, or not API, you can Zapier connect it on the back end. Everyone's familiar with Zapier. Create a Zap, push that contact right over to your CRM and to whatever CRM list you want over here, and then start your own campaign with that. There's seamless.ai if you want to go to the LinkedIn world and get people out of LinkedIn into a CRM, seamless.ai. And there's another one similar to seamless.ai. I have the Chrome extension, I thought, but that's it's somewhat good because, the key is to get the correct email ID. If you want to do cold email campaigning, and your conversion of cold email campaigning, the process is a lot different than your warm to hot email campaign. And you got to keep that in mind of the type of content you're using on the cold side, because just like someone knocked on your door and wanted to offer you money, offer you to invest or deal, you'd be like, go away, you would shut the door, right? So you got to be careful how you go about doing that. But from a mass marketing standpoint, which don't want to be spammy as well, you got to be careful with that. And how many other times you unsubscribe emails? It's like a daily battle. I'm unsubscribing because my inbox gets filled up. But you can have a system or process to use in seamless.ai, get new email IDs over to CRM, your own email marketing campaign firing off to eventually get these people from cold to warm. And that actually has some conversion, not the best, but some conversion on that. If it's an automated process and it's managing itself, then might as well have that machine up and running. The one I learned, I won't take credit for this, is how do you get your emails to be recognized by the server so it doesn't go into spam or go into not the inbox, right? Neil Bawwah at a conference shared this idea where you send it over to Eventbrite. Now everyone's gonna be doing it, which is good. You send it over to Eventbrite and have Eventbrite send your meetings, your meetups, your webinars from Eventbrite to their inbox, and it goes right to their inbox because that's recognized by Google or Yahoo or whatever it may be. We're doing that as well, and the open rates definitely increase as a result.
That's awesome. Yeah, for sure. That's a really cool strategy that he uses. And yeah, the other software similar to Seamless that Neil uses is called Get Prospect.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Yes. And as you're talking, I'm like searching Seamless here. It seems like it gives you both email and phone numbers. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's pretty cool because it pulls email ID out and it becomes its own search engine and scrapes the entire worlds, the interwebs. And with 98% accuracy, you get the email. Problem with LinkedIn is they may move to a different company and they didn't change their information and you lost track of them.
Gotcha. Very cool. Awesome. As we wrap this up here, for the especially the ones that are new coming into this business, and they see someone like yourself who've been around for a while, done tons of deals, raised tons of money, and they're like, that's great, Iven can do it, but I can't do it. What would you say to them?
You can do it. What I would say is you got to know what it is you want. You got to get clarity on that. And there's a lot of internal battles because we're doing what other people want. And I had to go on that journey and I had to do what I wanted, which wasn't stay in the Air Force my entire life or be a general. And I had to make a lot of life decisions with my family to go down this path. But once you go through that, then commit to that, give everything you got. What I have found in my life, time and time again, whatever I give, it gives me back 10. Go for that and trust it. But there's this trust component that you got to allow to happen. But once you know what you want, go for it. Yourself, you trust yourself, it does come to you. And just put in the reps, man. Put in the work day in, day out, however you can. We may be working 9 to 5 jobs right now. Listen, I was going on my lunch breaks in some garage, working on my laptop, getting my OM fixed up with a VA into the Philippines, using hotspot on my cell phone, my webinar that evening. Then I go back to work and then I come home right into the webinar, raising money. And then I'm back at it next day and I'm on a way to get it done. But I knew what I wanted. And I was willing to sacrifice my military career a little bit of the next thing to go for this thing.
Right. That's good. That's good. Awesome, Iven. Yeah. So for the folks that want to reach out to you, partner with you, potentially co-GP with you on deals, where would you like to send them?
Great question. Check out my Facebook group, Apartment Ninja Warriors. Facebook group, Apartment Ninja Warriors. You'll find me there. We'll get connected. and we'll take it from there.
Awesome.